We're
What's
just
up,
talking about.
party people? Shut up, Justin. What's up? How are we all doing? You already know this is a Ball No Worse Pod. We are back. We are back. We are here to discuss the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. There was 4 games. 2 of them ended up in more than one possession, and 2 of them were really close. But we are here to talk about all 4 of those games that occurred last Saturday and Sunday, and we will discuss our matchups and our predictions for the conference championships games, which will be here on Sunday the 25th, I believe. No, 26th. So yeah, but before we get into the divisional matchups from last weekend, how was your week, gentlemen? Were you able to catch a lot of these games over the weekend? There's 2 on Saturday, 2 on
Sunday. I knew the Commanders would do it. Never a doubt. Everyone saw it coming. No surprise at all.
Yeah.
Shout out Jaden Daniels. Wild. I almost feel bad for the Lions, but we can get into that. But I don't. Never. Yeah.
Never. I'm really behind on my playoff picks in my pick'em league, so I have to go all upsets from here on out. So I went 3-1 because obviously the Houston one didn't pan out for me. It was close. They lost by 9, and it was 8.5.
That's
was the spread that I bet them on. I was like, son of a
taking that
bitch.
pick. That's
Even
a
that
pure
extra safety
pick. That's
didn't
not
help me.
I'm trying to make money in a league. I'm not serious. It's not serious business.
And I made the playoffs, man. Out of 80 people, only 10 made the playoffs. So I picked pretty decent for the week
Stay
for
corrected.
the year. So that's with spreads. But anyways, yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. We'll kind of go cron pod. The first game was the Houston Texans coming off of that upset win against LA at home. I had to go into Arrowhead to try and upset everyone's the nation's favorite team, the Kansas City Chiefs. It was actually was close, pretty much, majority of the game. If you guys remember this one, it was, I believe, at halftime, 13-6. And then they scored. Joe Mixon had the touchdown. Fairbairn missed the PAT, so it was like 13-12, and that kind of was kept him out of reach. And then there was Travis Kelce touchdown, and then the field goal to kind of seal it. And they had obviously the safety when they were just running out the clock. But Chiefs get it done at home, 23-14. They do cover. Kelce actually has like his first 100-yard game in a cool minute. He had 7 catches, 117 yards, and a touchdown, which was his first 100-yard game, I believe, actually, of the season, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, what was your guys' first initial thoughts when you were watching that game? Did you ever think Houston had a chance?
It was close. Most of the game,
Yeah,
it just felt like the Chiefs were hanging around. When Houston had I don't know. It felt like Houston couldn't put it away. The short version, they were just kind of lingering. They had chances, but they just didn't do it. You're just waiting for the inevitable Chiefs comeback. That's what it felt like.
yeah, it was like that. Like they gave you hope that they could do it, but at the same time, you kind of knew
It wasn't
still,
convincing.
it's
in the
not
bag.
gonna happen.
They just got to run out the clock. It was like no, they're every minute that passes, where I don't know. You're holding out hope until eventually you're like they're gonna come back. I know it. I don't need to watch it. It's coming. Pat Mahomes.
Yeah,
There's no why even watching
that's
this
why I
game. There's
texted
no
you
point.
guys.
It's a waste of your time.
It's like the game's over.
Pat
The second
Mahomes
quarter,
with
the
that
game's
just
over.
electric 177-yard passing game. You just knew that the dagger was coming. Never a doubt.
Yeah.
The dagger were those fucking trash bullshit calls, and I love that after the game, the entire league is like, nah, fuck this.
Also, shout out Joe Mixon getting fined
players
for not actually saying what the league thought he said. Sucks for him. I hope they Venmo his ass back.
Yeah, it was like a TJ Hushmanzada tweet that he got fined for.
It's tough seeing, dude.
Yep. What did he say?
And then he got fined again
really?
for saying, "Hey, this is bullshit."
Oh, jeez. Goodell's got to Venmo him tonight, dude. Make that shit right. That's tough scene. Tough scene for the program.
I know Will Anderson had like obviously comments. He was the one that he was like, "Oh, we knew it was going to be us versus like
See,
everyone." Or no,
I
I
thought that
think
was Joe Mixon.
um, D'Amico Ryan
That was
said
D'Amico Ryan's.
D'Amico Ryan said it was going to be us versus everyone. Like hint,
Oh, I
hint.
didn't see
Like
that.
fuck all y'all. Like we know you guys know what we're saying. But I think Will
Yeah.
Anderson said, I think he was
He's
a little
like,
bit
yeah, you
more
know how it
blunt
is when you
about
come
it. I
up
can't
here,
remember what
like
his
we knew it
quote
was going to
was,
be
but
us versus the refs or something like that. Like it was very point
yeah,
blank and
Yeah.
not beating around
Yeah.
the bush. And I was like, okay, so he's saying what everyone's thinking. And then I don't know who it was, one of you guys, when you sent that graphic, like since
Yeah.
2020 or 2021, the Chiefs have not had a single playoff game in 4 years now where the opponent has had more or has had less penalties than they have. I told my dad that stat tonight, and he was like, "Yeah, but I think it's because like the Chiefs are like disciplined or whatever." And I was like, "I don't know, dude. I don't know.
Yeah. Nah.
I think when you're
Nah.
slowing down, getting it,
yeah,
That's a very like
well,
have the
it
blinders
wasn't really in
on
defense,
view
but he was like, "Yeah, but they're like like they are a good
of how
team."
things
But then
are.
after he was like, "Yeah, but like they also do get like a lot of questionable calls." I'm like, yeah. I mean, how many
Not a single holding call in
how
any
many
Super Bowl,
times
and we
apart from
watched all
this
those Super
weekend have we
Bowls.
seen Mahomes slow down and not get out of bounds? Just this season alone, like 6 times, and then they call it every.
Yeah,
dude,
but this weekend is where it was
But then you
super
had the
obvious, where
flop
everybody's like,
afterwards. That's
okay,
why. If he didn't
this is
flop,
stupid.
no one.
Yeah. Yeah.
it got to the point where they had to talk to him this week, and we're like, "Hey, so what do you think about everyone saying you guys are getting calls?" And then Mahomes like, "No, we don't get him." Like,
I
dude,
Yeah.
stats fucking don't lie. And yeah, but since 2021, the Chiefs have had 10 games where they've had 10 playoff games that they've had less penalties than their opponent
this
in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And those are the stats that
like
are
what's the
huge. That
probability of that
changes momentum
happening,
of a game,
right? Like
dude.
if you look at
Those
any
two roughing
team who's made the playoffs perennially,
none, none.
when was the last time that's happened during a 4 year stretch? Like
I mean, Ohio State hadn't get a holding call
oh my
since
god,
September,
classic
but we're
guy
not really talking about that because
off
they
the
won.
wrist.
So yeah, it's all good.
That's because no one ever
But
holds against
I
them.
mean,
That's why.
everyone said the same thing about Brady getting all the calls and this and that, and there's part of that's true to
It's
an
not the same.
extent, but it just doesn't. I don't know if it's recency bias, but it just doesn't feel the same. It doesn't feel like it's that way. It feels so much
It is not
more
recency
No.
bias.
clear and obvious and more egregious. Like, and it's not just one game or the playoffs,
Yeah.
or it's like every single week, right? If they're down, like we said earlier, we got to go back and find that graphic. There was like 4 teams that have had one score games, like multiple one score games this season. All of them are like 1-4, 2-7. Chiefs are 11-0.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So you're telling me all of those teams couldn't get. I mean, they're bad teams, but you're saying none of them could convert in a one score game. But the Chiefs are also like 10-0. Or they had so many one score games this year. The Raiders on Christmas Day, right? That bullshit call at the end. We were talking about it. It's like to they easily could have lost. It's influencing some of these games, like for sure. It happens too frequently, too often. Or I think people are like more outspoken about it now than ever. At least on the internet, comment boards, whatever. But I think it's Aikman said it, dude. Aikman, when he got pushed out of in bounds, Aikman didn't hesitate, and people are like, "Oh, Aikman's a hater. He's always been a hater of Mahomes, whatever." I'm like,
Yeah. He went off.
he's like, Aikman was
dude.
pissed. He called it out right
Yeah.
away.
Joe
He
Buck.
had millions of dollars to just call the game, and without
Yeah.
hesitation, he calls it for what it is. Like we tried to flop right there or whatever he said, and they're like, "Shit!" Like Aikman's over it, and I think that's a sign. Like it's not a one off. People aren't overreacting.
Yeah, I saw which was crazy, and at this point, I don't know. I don't condone violence, but somebody, I don't know if it was a
But
player or something, they said you're gonna get the penalty no matter what. Might as well
well,
make
that's
it
not
worth
violence.
it.
It's just playing football. Yeah, honestly.
Like,
No, like if you've seen, like you can go back now and there are people making videos of Brady getting hit. And it's like any one of those, the
Your
guy would be
suspension.
executed on the field. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. It's just way
No,
different now. I think that's why old players are pissed too. They're like,
Well, I mean,
this
look
is
at me. You play like the Ed
it's
Reed
really
Brady
dumb.
era.
Brady came out this week too, and he made a
Yeah, I
comment.
mean, it is getting softer.
Yeah, Brady made a comment too. He was like, he said, he was talking about like offensive players have to protect themselves. If defensive players, he said they're trying to make a play on the ball, like, and you can only knock out the ball with force. He made a joke. He's like, you're not gonna run by and blow on it, and it's gonna fall out.
I
He's like, you need to
did see
knock
that
that
quote
shit out.
by Brady.
And
He's
he's
right, though.
like,
Offensive players have to protect themselves, and it's not on the
and
defender for trying to make a play.
he said, and if he's running like down the field or whatever, and he's not giving himself, he's like, you can give yourself up and not come close. Which Brady did that when he got older. Same with Manning. They're like, I can't take a fucking big ass hit. I'm not gonna run anymore. But if you're gonna try and make that play and become a runner, dude, fucking take it.
Honestly, dude, I say just get rid of the slide.
Yeah, once you're out of the
Like, fuck
pocket,
the slide.
you're a
We don't
runner.
need the slide.
You face
Running
the
backs don't
consequence.
slide. I don't care if you slide. You're gonna get hit just like anybody else.
That's fair. Like,
Just
if
get
you're
rid of
going
the
to get
slide.
out of the pocket and you're a runner, right? It's fair game.
Then run the ball.
Yeah.
Or run out of bounds.
Yeah,
You want to protect yourself.
that's what Brady said. He's like, they could run out of bounds. He's like, you don't have to,
Yeah.
run.
He
And try and
turned
get
back
those yards.
inbounds. He turned back inbounds on that unnecessary roughness call where he slid and they jumped over him, right?
Yep,
He had the sideline. He could have taken it, but no, he turned back in. And then
that was
went
the
down
worst
late.
call. That was terrible, terrible.
That
Game-changing
specific
call.
like
Momentum
checkup to not get out of
shifting.
bounds, that one specifically made me think, like, not to compare sports or whatever, but like it's almost like disrespectful to like
Yeah.
the game. And like hockey, like if you're punking, like hockey regulates itself, like if you're being like a punk or you're like disrespectful or whatever, like someone's gonna come and beat the fucking shit out of you, and then then you move on, right? Whereas if you're gonna just like, I'm gonna get away with it, and I'm gonna just milk this and keep milking this because I'm gonna get away with it, someone needs to lay you out and get you and bring you back to reality. Like, that's how it works, And there's playing the game, and then there's
Yeah.
cheap shit, and I think people are just kind of tired of, are just kind of tired of it.
I think part of like when you're sliding, you put yourself in the position of like, okay, if the player's already mid tackle,
Tackle.
he's going at your waist, chest area, and you're sliding down into that. Of course, they're gonna hit you in the fucking head. You should take that. It's actually on them. Like if they just lowered their shoulder,
If
they
you're in
don't
that
ever
position
take that
as
hit to the head, right?
moving forward as a
Yeah.
250-pound defender, how do you revert your body? You can't revert your body. You can't stop force already in motion.
No.
The physics of that.
You can't defy
It's not
physics
no.
mid tackle. It's just not.
Yeah. So if you want to slide, just like
Yeah.
be prepared to
I
like get
am
your head
curious
taken
if they're
off.
going to alter
That's fine.
the slide rule, I think, in the offseason, because I feel like there's always talks about it the last few years, and now it's like maybe it's become such a topic of conversation that maybe they actually look into it. I don't know.
No, it's gonna be the Patrick Mahomes rule. Instead of pads, they're just gonna give him flags, and then everyone
It's
has
going
to
to turn
grab.
into a sarcastaball.
What is that?
You don't know what sarcastaball is?
No.
Watch the sarcastaball episode of South Park.
South
It's fucking
Probably
hilarious,
accurate,
dude.
like all things South Park.
Everybody, go watch that episode. It perfectly describes what's happening to the NFL right now. They caught
Yeah.
it like 10 years early.
That's funny. Well, I will say this, Von Miller, if you're listening to this upcoming game, if you get fined for hitting him too hard when there's a roughing the passer, I will personally
What a
Venmo you
guy.
$5 towards your fine.
And that's an offer you just can't refuse right there.
Um,
I forgot Von Miller's alive. I'm not going to
But I
lie.
agree, man. Like,
Is
if
he
you're gonna
playing
try and
Sunday?
if you're gonna try and freaking beat, yeah,
Yes.
he started. If you're gonna try and beat the system and finesse it because the refs give you the calls, I mean, and that freaking stat that they were boasting about, like online, I forgot the referee's name, but like that they were 7-0
yeah.
whenever he was the referee. I was like,
Yeah.
fucking of course.
Yeah. Well, now they're 7-0. They were 6-0 going
Sure,
into the
that's a
game.
coincidence, you
I thought it was
guys.
okay,
You're reading
so
too much
7-0.
into
It's
it.
like, of course,
Goddamn
Yeah.
conspiracy theorists over here, dude.
doubtful. Nah,
I haven't heard the news on this
Is it
week's Rock
posted?
Crew.
Not
They're
yet.
They're
waiting for
waiting for that to
the
pop up.
money line to like
I don't
spread
know.
as far as
No,
it can, before they release that information.
and then they'll put it out like, oh yeah,
Vegas
here,
gives the
this
green
is
light.
the
Like,
crew. They're 10-0. They're 10-0 with the Chiefs.
But anyways, KC squeaks by yet again in a not egregiously convincing win. They beat up on they beat a very beat up Houston Texans team that still had a chance. This win was not convincing. I mean, none of their wins have been convincing, in all honesty, not one. But they are the defending Super Bowl champions and AFC champions, and they're going to be hosting the AFC Championship next week against the Bills, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So we will see, and we'll talk about that game. But the second game on Saturday, which was electric and bonkers, our boy Jaden, the Inland Empire GOAT Daniels, takes it to
bananas.
the Detroit Lions in Detroit, no less. Dude, this game was wild. We always said though, like if you're gonna beat the Lions, you're gonna have to score 40 plus and outscore them. And sure enough,
highest scoring second quarter in playoff history, something like that, with like 41 points, something like that. I don't know the exact number, but it was like 42. Yeah,
42.
that's insane. That was a freaking awesome game.
Holy shit!
As an objective bystander, it was an awesome game. I just hoped it was close. I just didn't want to watch the game blown out, and you're like, that'd be kind of shitty. But what a game, dude! Jaden Daniels, he just looked like he's been there before. Like, not to glaze him too much, but he just looked calm and collected. And
I'll glaze him.
No, they looked good, and I think I mean, what Goff, the turnovers and like a couple of mistakes. I mean, well, not a couple. Goff had 3 interceptions, with the fumble and everything. It's like it's the worst time to have the worst game of the season. But the Commanders, outside of that, even played really well. Yeah, I want to see what you guys think on that.
Well, he had that same type of game against, what was it, Houston earlier this year, where he had like 5 picks.
They won that game.
And they were able to win anyway.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But it's the playoffs. You can't do it in the playoffs.
No.
And the Commanders are much better than the Texans.
Yeah.
No, this game was nuts. We were just texting. I was at my dad's. We were watching it, and we are like eating dinner, and we kept texting like, "Holy shit!" And I was like, "Dude, who the fuck scored?" Look over. Somebody scored.
You take the trash
fucking
out.
36 seconds later, I swear to God, someone scored again. I was like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah.
I was like, "What?" There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 touchdowns in the span of 7 minutes, or 5. Yeah, 5 touchdowns in the span of 7 minutes.
It was awesome.
That's insane.
Also, shout out Teddy Bridgewater. Hashtag contributor.
Crazy.
1 for 1, 3 yards, dude.
Dude,
he won that game.
Freaking signed him.
Did you see?
2 weeks
Did you
ago.
see Jared Goff get blown up on that play?
He got pulled out. He thought they had a concussion. He got smacked up, dude.
I saw a bunch of people bitching that there was no flag on that play. I don't
what?
think. Yeah, right.
For
like
blocking too hard.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, he launched with his helmet into his fucking face. Like,
breaching.
No, Jared Goff couldn't stand his ground and got his shit fucking.
Yeah. Dan Campbell flew a little too high to the sun on that play.
I will say, I don't like how often they're going for it on 4th down.
Both teams?
I'm talking specifically about Washington just because they're the ones that won. But yeah, I mean, both teams. I'm like, you could have just taken the points, like, plenty of times. You know what I mean?
It did bite them again.
Off for them. It paid off for them, like this weekend. But like, what about next week? Is it going to work the same way?
As on the list of shirts to make. Take the points.
Take the points. That is definitely Justin's.
I'm the same way though. Every time it happens. Every time it happens,
like it was
Justin,
like,
the first person to talk about it because it pisses us off about the same. Because it's so obvious.
It was like first drive of the game, they're in field goal range, and it's 4th down, and they're like, oh, fuck it, we're just gonna go for it, Like, why? Just kick the fucking field goal. Like,
No,
Maybe,
you don't know what kind of game it's gonna be yet.
yeah, that right at the beginning too was freaking crazy work.
Dan
Like, why
Campbell,
would you not
too
take
hard.
3
I think
points? I don't
that's.
know.
I'm not. I mean, I don't think this loss is on Dan Campbell. I think Goff really shit the bed. However, it is a point to be. It is a point to be made. Like
Oh, their defense.
Dan Campbell does. It is kind of reckless, and I think the Lions, like last year, the Lions are great, lost in the playoffs. Okay, whatever. This year they were freaking otherworldly, and to not even as the number one seed to not even get to like the NFC Championship game after the year they had last year, it feels like just a colossal wasted season. In my opinion, like it's just a huge waste, And you lost both coordinators to coaching. I mean, we can talk about all this too, but like I don't know. It feels like this was their year, and I don't.
I just think with all the injuries, they couldn't, keep it up. It just would have, you can only score 30 plus each game, and eventually you're going to run into, a brick wall that's going to stop you. But all their injuries, like did what, 12, 13 starters out for the last 5 weeks?
I think it's on Goff though.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, the injury bug hit them worse than anybody else, but everybody's got
Yeah,
injuries pretty much.
I get it. I don't like the injury card as an excuse for this game. Not with 15 wins, dude.
Think about it. They lost by 2
Yeah,
scores, but they turned it over
the
4
turnovers
times.
You gave Washington short fields, and they scored every time. Right?
I honestly wouldn't even call it the defense's fault.
It got.
How many times can you turn the ball over and it be the defense's fault?
No.
Washington scored every time.
I agree. But if you have a tougher defense, you're not trying to score 40 points if you're holding the other team to 20 or less.
But do they score 45 if
no way.
Detroit never turns it over? Like, no.
Yeah. No, I know. But yeah, Dan Campbell with that trash Jameson Williams play in the triple coverage. It's like, dude, what are you doing?
That's the thing too.
Yeah.
That
Their
was
12-man on the field penalty was really, really bad.
Ooh, man.
Yeah, it was
That was
fourth
first
down.
goal, no?
And Washington was not like in a hurry up offense at all. Like the Aaron Rodgers special where he always catches them off 12 men on the field. They weren't doing. They weren't.
And you heard Brady. He was saying,
They were taking a sweet ass time. They didn't, and Dan Campbell didn't see it on fourth down. That's when you're like, this thing's over, dude. Like you guys are just not in it. And I can't remember the last time I've seen 12 men on the field in a non-hurry up situation, right? Because it can happen.
A lot of people were saying, yeah, but I mean that was really bad. That was really bad. In a terrible spot in the game. A lot of people were saying Jaden Daniels best rookie of all time.
The question is, do you have a case for someone else though?
Yeah,
in place of him.
Well, they pulled up all these prior rookie QBs to make it to the conference championship game, right? It was every one of them had a top 4 defense. Every one of them, and Jaden Daniels' defense is 18th in the league, something like that.
Were not great all year.
They're like, meh.
Because remember middle, just past the halfway point when they lost 3 games in a row, and their defense was bad, and we're like, okay, they're not that great. Maybe they make the playoffs. Jaden Daniels is still good. First round exit, who cares? And now the fact that they're in the NFC Championship game, it's it's just another case for how good he's playing. To be honest, he might be the best rookie of all time, dude. It's definitely.
Is the Lions' window closed?
I don't want to say closed, but this is a huge. I was thinking about this today, actually, as a Packer fan with Aaron Rodgers forever and always having winning seasons and stuff. As you know, obviously, you're not guaranteed to be back there. even if your quarterback's playing really, really well every year, right? It's a whole team aspect. I don't think there's a guarantee the Lions are this dominant for the next 2 to 3 years. They might be good, but winning 15 games, like that just doesn't happen like it used to, you know? I don't know. I think the pressure is definitely on them big time after this, especially not even getting to the NFC Championship game. So losing the divisional as number 1 seed blows heavy. And I know because I've been there, but also with 15 wins, 16 wins, Packers won the Super Bowl the year before. So it's shitty, but it's not as bad. They haven't won, you know, being this good. So I think next year there's like massive pressure in Detroit.
Yeah. I don't know. You have to think that, okay, like Philly is
Probably.
going to be the same next year. The Rams are probably better next year. I don't know about the Packers. I haven't watched a lot of them. Maybe the Packers are better next year.
Vikings.
Washington's still there. Minnesota's still there if JJ McCarthy ends up being really good. Tampa Bay, still there.
Right. They'll be back.
San Francisco is going to be better next year. Chicago, Detroit
That's the
lost
thing.
both coordinators.
Now you got wild
Yeah.
cards on both sides of the ball.
You know?
And who knows, is your offense guaranteed to be that good next year? I don't know.
Well, that's what happened to Philly last year. And then towards the end of the season, you saw them kind of like spiraling, and then they had their first round exit.
Yeah, I
It could
just
be
think
like
nothing's
similar to
guaranteed.
that.
Like I've been where they're at, and it's like you always like to think that next year's just another year, but it's not.
It's the worst.
You know, nothing's a guaranteed. That's the thing, and this feels way worse than last year. I think, like by a long shot, especially losing both coordinators. Now you got to find. There's just too many variables, you know, to expect this to be the same way next year.
Yeah, 15 wins is tough. I mean, like they don't come by like that often, especially for like the Lions. I think it depends on who they get for their OC and DC, but I think they'll still be fighting for the division around week 14, 15, 16. I think. I don't think that division, no team's going to run away with it. I think they'll still be up there to fight, so at least fighting for a home playoff game. I think that they'll be there. But first seed at 14, 15 wins.
Let's be honest. Nobody
See?
under the sun thought the Commanders were winning. They just didn't. Yeah, I know.
picked
Like
them.
we like them.
I believe,
but
baby.
like no one
Yeah, but
expected
you
them
picked
to
them-
win.
I did.
Did you?
I stink.
They're playing with house money. Why not? Why do you think Dan Quinn goes for it on fourth down? If they lose that game, no one's getting mad at him. They're still
money,
praising
though,
him.
Objectively stupid.
Not to
Sorry,
jump
I'm
ahead,
sorry.
but
It's
speaking of
just
house money, I
stupid.
think the Commanders
I agree.
could totally beat the Eagles. Like,
Okay, I don't know if you guys remember, but a few weeks back I said there's no chance in hell the Eagles beat them 3 times.
yeah,
But then the Commanders beat them a few
Yes.
weeks back. So now I'm like, you know.
it's hard to beat a team 3 times in the season.
Well, speaking
I don't
of,
know.
I mean,
But they didn't do it. They beat them earlier.
Yeah.
uh,
Right. Yeah.
but no. Speaking of the Eagles, they're the first game on Sunday. They hosted the Rams in a pretty snowy battle. It was pretty tight. I like when it starts to snow, like mid game, and you can see the field change. It was pretty sick. This game was close. A lot of field goals in this game. There was how many field goals? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 field goals and a safety, which was kind of cool, like a real safety, not like some fake ass shit.
Yeah.
Eagles get it done after Jalen Hurts' absolutely monster 128-yard no touchdown day. But that's because Saquon Barkley goes off for 200
I bet the
piece
rushing under
and 2 tutties. Eagles
I had
get
the over Saquon rushing, and then I have
Have
a
you
screenshot to prove it. Zach's like, the only one I'm not sure about is Saquon rushing over. I mean, he rushed for him. He
Are
ran
you
like
crazy?
300 yards on him last time. I really think they're going to be prepared for the rush. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. I think you're right. And I changed it, and we totally got
My
fucking
God,
shit on.
man.
Again, trust your judgment. Don't listen to Zach. That's on me. Well, we didn't
It's
know
a
it was
snow
snowing before the
game.
game, but that was stupid to think. Well, yeah, is Saquon going to rush 200 yards back to back? Probably not. Stupid. He's done it all season, and I think, today's going to be the day he gets stopped. This is moronic.
That was in fact stupid.
If you didn't have those
Woulda, coulda,
two
shoulda.
huge plays,
That's what happens. He
You're
breaks
coasting.
free every
But
week.
he has those.
It's not like he never breaks. It's not like he
game.
dinks and dunks 3 yards. 1,000 carries for 200 yards. No, he always breaks free. And I knew this, and I bet against it anyways. It's 100%.
I stand by. I stand by my.
Oh, I love that.
I stand by my recommendation.
Love that for you.
That is retarded. I'm sorry. You saw that? I saw it was like a meme. Only one guy can save us from Jalen Hurts' 118-yard Super Bowl appearance.
That's facts, though, dude. I don't hate Jalen Hurts, though. I can't hate him. He's a nice guy. He's a classy guy. He's
The game was frustrating, man.
Dude, Rams could not get in the end zone, man. I felt like it was just teasing the whole time, and nobody could get it. Like nobody was pulling away in this game at all, literally.
That last drive, that third, like you have it though, and you just let Jalen Carter go right up the gut and just kill Matt Stafford.
Yeah, you were
to end the
pretty
game,
upset
basically.
about that.
It's like,
Dude, and his freaking
it was a disgusting way to end the game.
Dude, his freaking dot to was it Cooper Cup in the corner to
Puka
to get it down to like
dart.
first and goal or whatever.
Catch.
Oh my god,
great catch.
Yeah,
fucking
yeah. And
dude.
somebody's just like, oh, their best defensive lineman. Yeah, let's just like not.
That was an awful
guy.
way to end
Yeah.
Unlocked.
Let's let Aaron Donald up the middle.
was an
Terrible,
awful
man. It was
way to end
terrible. So frustrating because they had it. I thought they were going to score.
I forgot.
But
I think me and
Zach
Zach, I forgot if it was just two of us last time. We all picked the Rams to win this game. We both liked the Rams. Everybody did, yeah.
I picked the Rams.
Justin's might have been out of hate, but
I did.
I bet them plus 6.5, so I got my money, so it's all good.
Yeah.
God, really? It was 6.5. It's a crazy.
Eagles Chiefs though.
That's a crazy cover.
You're gonna have both quarterbacks throw for like 190, and someone's gonna win the game.
I promise you, I will be the biggest
The worst guy, dude.
Taylor Swift fan if Eagles Chiefs make the Super Bowl.
God, dude, you're the worst.
I don't give a fuck.
If it's Eagles Chiefs, I won't even know. I won't even know how many yards they're throwing because I won't be watching.
I thought about that. I was like, this might be the year. Like, I don't watch it. But then I'm like, I've said that a few times in my life. Not a lot, but like, there's a few times I said I wasn't going to watch it. And sure as shit, I found myself on the couch watching it on Sunday because it's like, you have to watch it. It's the goddamn Super Bowl.
Yep.
It's the goddamn Super Bowl.
What else are you going to do?
Imagine not watching the Super Bowl.
Yard work.
That doesn't take 4 hours or whatever. At 3:30 p.m. on a Sunday, you're going to start doing your work at 3:30 p.m. California time? You lying sack of shit.
You're gonna wait.
You
till the game starts
dawn,
specifically to start,
and then you move on with your day. You don't start doing yard work at 3:30 in the afternoon California time on a Sunday.
Oh, I will.
Oh,
I will ensure that I wait. But Stafford, vintage Stafford, though, you love to see it. A 320 piece. Kyron Williams looks good too. I agree with you, Justin. They're going to be better,
dude.
If they start the year healthy too, because they started unhealthy. They started 1-4, I believe.
Yeah,
they'll be back good, healthier. I mean, they were semi-healthy and ended up winning the division. Because San Francisco took a shit because they were all dead. Arizona did nothing, even though I believed in them all season. And
did you believe in them all season? No, we got the receipts.
All season. All season.
I think Rams will be back. I'm not worried. Plus, it was a good first round too, taking down Minnesota, which was taking down Minnesota.
Kyron Williams, really good. Can never hold on to the fucking ball, it seems.
At inopportune times.
Always fumbles at the worst times. He fumbles. So yeah, he's good, but how good can you be considered when you put the ball on the ground every fucking game?
It's true.
Tough.
It's true.
Anyways,
But Philly will be hosting the NFC Championship against our Washington Commanders. Um, we'll preview that game in just a second. But the last one, Justin's favorite, the Baltimore Ravens go to Orchard Park, if I'm not mistaken, to take on Bills Mafia in Buffalo. This one, besides watching the Washington Detroit game, how fun that was. This one I think was the most competitive and closest game. Um, kind of just how close it stayed the whole time. Halftime it was 21-10, so he thought Buffalo was gonna kind of run away with it, and then Baltimore scores back to back. They scored a field goal, a long field goal, and then a touchdown, and kind of bring it within two
Justin,
going into the
check your
fourth
mail.
quarter.
I have a Mark
So
Andrews jersey en route to you. Late Christmas gift. I forgot to tell you about it.
Dude, he's the absolute worst guy. It wasn't even you know what's crazy? I don't even really blame him that much for dropping the 2-point conversion. You know why? Because it's John Harbaugh's fault. They had to go for two in the first place because the fucking retard decides, oh, you know what? I'm gonna go for two
That
and try
was
to tie it in the middle of
awful.
the third
Take the
quarter or whatever
points.
take
the
the
hell it
points.
was.
Take the
Like
points.
what are you doing? What are you doing?
Terrible. You never go
You're
for it unless you
so
need to.
stupid. Unless you have to, you don't go for it. So I don't even blame him for that so much. What I do blame him for is earlier on in the game, him dropping a huge like
Right
second
before
and 10
Lamar's
ball
fumble, right?
on the Bills side of the field, where right the play before Lamar's fumble, yeah. So really, I thought that fumble was on him because it wasn't even Lamar's fault really. It was a terrible snap, whatever. But that doesn't really happen if Mark Andrews catches that ball. And then the most disgusting catch and fumble I probably have ever seen, where he catches that ball, he's well past the first down marker, and there's nobody north of him. There's nobody there. And I'm trying to find the screen cap of it so I can show it. But basically, if you watch the play, Mark catches the
There's nobody
ball
in
and
the
there's
frame.
nobody between him and the end zone, like on the screen at least. And it's like, oh, guess where Mark Andrews goes on this play? There's like Bills over here and there's Bills over here and there's nobody over here. And he like runs this way. He runs right into them. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to run this way instead of running north south. And then he puts the ball on the ground. Terrible, terrible. He single handedly cost them that game without that one John Harbaugh idiotic play call to go for
It was
two there.
bad.
I don't know. It was just really bad. It was really bad. And I thought that the Ravens should have won this
They
game.
should have won this game.
And I picked them
They
to win
totally
this
could
game.
have.
And I think if he does catch that 2-point conversion at the end of the game, the Ravens were the ones that had the momentum towards the end of the game. I think they go into overtime and probably win
I
it
think
too.
what sucks too is like I had no
So
beef with Mark Andrews. You know, like he's great all year. Like he's always consistent, one of the better tight ends in the league. But I didn't realize, like off the top of my head, he's had multiple like bad playoff performances. Like I guess this isn't that new, and it's so weird. It's so weird how he's so
Yeah.
good
no.
because you don't really hear about tight ends being streaky or tight ends being shitty in the playoffs. You have a good tight end or you don't, right? You can block or you can catch. Maybe you can do both, but like those are you're good or you're not, right? With a tight end, it's like you never hear about streaky tight ends, but he is streaky in the playoffs, and that's Lamar's go-to guy, and he's just not that trustworthy. And it's they're kind of at a point where it's like Lamar has his issues in the playoffs, Mark Andrews has his issues in the playoffs. You got to like shake something up at this point for Buffalo, you know? Like something's got to give. Either you bring someone else in or you let Andrews dip. I mean, Lamar's not going anywhere, but it's just weird how it's happened multiple times with the turnovers and the drops and stuff. It's just, I don't know. I didn't know if you guys knew that or read that or saw that, but I thought it was kind of interesting that like, because you don't ever, because he's so consistent during the season that you don't think too much about it. But the playoffs, it's just
Gonna start feeding Isaiah Likely more. I mean, he had less targets than.
I mean, some people were
Andrews,
saying,
but he
about
had more
2-point
yards.
conversion, like, oh, Likely's the guy you got to go to in that situation. Or I mean, that's kind of cherry picking, you know. No, but like to
No, Mark was wide
have
open.
him for that play,
No,
right? To
I'm
have
I'm
like
saying for the
likely be the
future.
guy to catch the ball. I'm like,
Oh,
that could be cherry picking or Monday morning quarterbacking, you know, but I don't think that's it's just but yeah, the turnover it's just a problem, you know? And it killed them. And I Philly thought they could win the game.
no, I meant for the future, giving likely more looks for next season, like giving him more looks, giving him the more targets and more of um the
Yeah,
routes or
it's
whatever too.
definitely.
I mean, I think he's pretty good. He's younger. I mean, it's always a plus. But I do remember last
Uh,
week saying on flipping this. I mean, Bills did nothing wrong. They just kept within themselves. Josh Allen didn't try to do anything crazy. They kept care of the football. I mean, Josh Allen didn't have any fumbles, no picks. He threw like 120 yards. It was a snow game too, so you're not going to obviously pass it a lot unless you absolutely need to. But I did say I was wrong, but I was close. I was like, watch James Cook outplay Derrick Henry. Both of you guys were like, fuck no, hell no, no, not even close. James Cook had 82 total yards and Henry had 84. I was pretty close.
well, they sold out to stop Derrick Henry. It was obvious
That's what I
from
told you.
like the start of the game. He couldn't do anything though, which was surprising because other teams do that too. But Buffalo was able to. Maybe just because they were healthier this time than they were,
But I said if they're going to win
when
this
they
game,
first played.
they're going to stop Henry, and they did. I mean, 84 yards is a lot, in comparison, but not for Henry. And to win this game, they did. They did enough to stop him, obviously.
Yeah. But I mean, Lamar, I don't know, dude. His arm punt, I don't know if it was at the beginning of the game or like more middle of the game or what, but I was, what the hell is that, dude? I don't know if you guys saw that interception.
The layup.
He's just like, oh, I'm gonna just, I'm just gonna throw it as far as my punter can kick it, and we'll call it a punt, and
Oh,
we'll
I
just
did
do
see
that.
it.
I forgot about it
Like, who the hell
already.
was he throwing to? I don't know. It's like things like that. We're also like, dude, yeah, because of all the other shit that happened. Um, because if that happens at the end of the game, obviously you're talking about it as much as Mark Andrews drop or whatever. But it's still like, what the fuck was that? You know, these weird things that they do in the playoffs. I don't know.
Trying to make something happen, man. I don't know. Doesn't
Who
really
has more
work. Stay
pressure?
within yourself.
This seems obvious, but who has more pressure heading into next season, the Ravens or Detroit? Yeah, I think so too.
Ravens,
You're gonna have a 3-time MVP on your roster.
especially with
You can't get
Lamar.
out of the divisional.
Yeah, I was gonna say, especially with Lamar gonna get his third
Is he
MVP.
gonna win the MVP?
I think so.
Sure.
It's not gonna be Josh Allen. You're sure?
No,
I'm guessing it's gonna be Josh Allen.
Why?
Because I think the whole voter fatigue thing is a real thing, and people don't like voting for the same player multiple years in a row. That's why Brady didn't win 1,000 MVPs. Why, um, like LeBron hasn't had 1,000 MVPs. You know what I mean? It's like I don't think they're going to give it to him. I just don't. I think the
Hmm.
narrative around Josh Allen this year and him playing with nobody
Well, that's
is
a
going to
balls
get
over take, you know. But I
is
think
going to
the
get him that.
argument that hey, Lamar's had better stats than the time he won MVP, that's a legit case.
Dak Dak Prescott had better stats than Lamar last season.
No,
He didn't
but
win MVP. He
as
finished
I know
second.
you're saying, but Lamar won MVP and he's playing better than he did. So that's an easy out, if you will, to give it to him, which I kind of get. Like I'm not going to refute that. Essentially,
But like if it's stats based, then he wouldn't have won it last year.
I don't remember last year off the top of my head.
So last year it was Lamar 1, Dak 2 for MVP in the league, and all of Dak's stats were better, like all of them.
but nobody likes the Cowboys, so there you go.
Probably.
That's easy out.
No, and apparently MVP votes are like honors awards are collected prior to the postseason even starting, so it's supposed to have no influence or whatever. But I don't know. Like I felt if that's the case, then obviously Josh Allen will win. I think. after
like
this
Josh to
weekend's
win it,
performance.
but
I just think he will win it. I don't think they're going to give it
I'd
to
love for him
Lamar.
to win. That'd be exciting, but I don't. I agree with Challer.
like
We
the
find
night
out
before the
when.
Super
When is that
Bowl,
happening? That's
Night
the week
before
before the Super Bowl.
I think it's the night
Oh,
before.
is it?
NFL
it
honors,
is
right?
dumb.
That's
So
dumb. If it's the night before the Super Bowl, because if the Bills are in the Super Bowl, like how does that? He's got to be
I don't think it's the
at the
night
award show,
before. I
then the
think
next day
Nope.
it's
playing the Super Bowl.
like a week before. I think.
Oh, okay. So like in a couple weeks or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I just think he's gonna win it.
All right.
Well, we will see. But what's more important, besides the MVP, is the conference championships that are this weekend, both on Sunday at 12 o'clock and 3:30 Pacific Standard Time for those that live in the West Coast. The first one, Washington at Philly. Spread currently right now, according to ESPN, is Philly -6. Seeing how Washington played the last two games, and seeing how Philly played the last two games in the playoffs, I think you said it earlier, Justin or Joller, but Washington could definitely has a legitimate chance, legitimate case to
It all depends on how
beat Philly.
Saquon's going to play, which is the most obvious cookie cutter statement, but it's so true because I don't see Jalen Hurts outgunning at based on what we've seen him, in the last few weeks. I mean, he hasn't had to. First off, I don't have the hate in my heart the two of you do for the Eagles, so I don't really care too much if they win. Philly's supposed to win this game.
Oh,
In my heart of hearts, I totally think the Commanders should win this game. It's not far fetched. They looked so. You just beat the number one seed at home by a mile. You should have no fear going into this game. Doesn't mean they're going to play the same as last week. I mean, are the Eagles going to turn the ball over 1,000 fucking times? Probably not. But can they keep it close? Absolutely, they can keep it close. And I think if they can keep it close, all the pressure's on Philly.
yeah, but if you had to pick, like
Probably the
with your
Eagles.
gut, who wins? I think so too. Which sucks
Because I think about
because I
the
don't want it
turnover
to be
thing,
that way.
right? I mean,
But yeah,
Eagles don't turn the ball over like that. They just don't. So there's gonna be less opportunities. But I don't know, man. I think it could be a really close game.
in both games this season, Saquon had like 150 yards rushing against
Yeah.
Washington, and they should have won that second game also. I just don't. I don't see
Because of
Washington
Saquon,
winning. I just don't
primarily.
see it happening. No, just because I think they're
They are.
better
Top to bottom.
overall.
I hope it's close. I hope it's not a blowout. That would, especially after last week.
I hope it's a blowout. I
Well,
hope
yeah,
Washington blows them
inversely.
out.
I mean, it would be shitty if Washington got blown out after just an amazing week last week and how exciting that was for this game to be a dud. I mean, America collectively does not want the Eagles in the Super Bowl, but I just want to be a close game. But I absolutely, truly do believe Washington has a very good chance to win this game.
They'll have to make a play, like a big one, like a Saquon fumble or, maybe a random Jalen Hurts pick, which is rare. Saquon takes care of the ball pretty well. Jalen Hurts doesn't throw it in any sort of, double coverage or triple coverage. He doesn't throw the ball that much at all anyways. But I think if Washington is going to win, they're going to need like one of those kind of plays.
Like a
Like, oh
momentum
shit,
shift.
they can actually do it right now. And the later it happens in the game favors Washington.
I think it'll be close.
If it's like 26-20 going in the fourth, Philly's winning, like 6 minutes left, and like Saquon fumbles at like Washington's 20, and then Jay Daniels leads a freaking 3-minute touchdown drive, 27-26, and gives Jalen Hurts 55 seconds. He's not getting a field goal range 55 seconds. He's got to throw the ball. And if that actually happens and I'm right, what I just said, I will throw up live on next episode.
Via IG Live or what?
Yeah, I would love Washington to win, man. Jane Daniels. We'll text his dad
Here's the
afterwards
thing
and
too.
once they win.
I've seen people
How do you
talk this
feel? You
too, like
go to the Super
foreshadowing.
Bowl.
People like I've heard the argument against Washington because they're like, well, if they beat the Eagles, they're not beating the Chiefs, and that guarantees another Chiefs Super Bowl victory. So I'd rather see the Eagles because it'll be a closer game. I'm like, I don't know if that's
No,
hyperbolic or
I
just
would not
speculation.
because
I
I'd
kind of
like.
get it, but I don't necessarily agree with that. Like, I do think Washington is better than maybe we thought they were. But on the other side of that, I still don't think the Chiefs are that good. I really, I don't. I think the Commanders Lions game could be closer than Chiefs Bills. I think the Bills could blow them the fuck out offensively. I think the
I would
Bills
love
can
it, dude.
blow
That would
them
be
the
the best
fuck
day of
out.
my life.
They really can. But depends on how many phantom penalties. I'm going to keep track. Someone needs to keep track of the penalties because I'll get distracted. Who has the most time between the three of it? No one has enough time. But no, Justin doesn't watch football, dude. He's a box score
It's not
merchant.
me.
I'm just kidding.
Because what else? What the fuck else matters, man? When it's a Chiefs game, you already know what's gonna happen.
Okay, between now and
So I
Sunday,
turned the
one
game
of us
off in
has to
the second
agree to
quarter
keep
last week.
track of the penalties, like a tally, like a tally, like Chiefs
I'll be
Bills.
watching the games this weekend.
Or
Well, the box score
or
also does
whatever.
that for you, but
I'm not a box score merchant. I just watch. I just
yeah.
I test. I test.
Dude, I test
They
Buffalo
really can,
could
dude.
blow
It's
their
not.
back out,
It's.
and I would love it.
I've been a hater all year of the Chiefs, whatever. But like we said, they haven't had any dominant, convincing wins. They have like 10 one-score games against a lot of bad teams. Like they have not looked dominant the entire season, and they're probably going to the Super Bowl. Because of some nonsense. It's gonna be awful. But the Bills' firepower and just they're so much better in every way, dude. It's like non-negotiable.
I think Josh Allen's so mad. Him and McDermott are like, hey, we're going to come out blazing. Let's put up like
I hope they come
50
out
points
slinging
in the
it, dude. I
first
really do.
8
I hope
minutes.
they fucking goes deep, 80-yard play, first play, touchdown. I would love it. I would just absolutely
Curtis
love it.
Samuel.
We'll find out though. I don't know.
Dude, that'd be awesome. Curtis Samuel touchdown, 75 yards, start the game. Speaking of Curtis Samuel, do you know where he went to college?
No, I don't care.
I can't say live on air.
No one cares.
The Ohio State University, baby.
That's definitely
I
not
was
what I was going to say.
That was close.
Let's say something else.
Close enough, honestly.
Yeah, Buffalo, man. I want Buffalo to win this game so bad. America wants Buffalo to win this game so bad.
I feel like this is one of the ones I can't remember a time where everybody's
It's
on
been a
one side of
while.
both games.
Maybe ever in recent history. Maybe
You know what I mean?
one of the Patriots
Like-
years, people are like tired of like Brady's last few years. Like the Eagles.
But both games, right? Nobody wants Philly to win, dude.
It's true. The memes are comedy.
Nobody wants Kansas City to win.
Yeah, that's true.
What happens?
If hypothetically, if it's Eagles, Chiefs, or either of you actually considering not watching the game, like seriously?
No, I will
Yeah,
be
so I
watching
used
the
to go
whole
be
thing and
actively-
rooting for. Yes.
Yeah, I'd watch it, and I would hope Saquon runs for 500 yards.
Yeah, I would hope Mahomes has a 1,000-yard day with 18 touchdowns.
Jesus.
If it's Chiefs Eagles,
I
don't
get
give a
that.
fuck, dude.
I get it. You're a Cowboys fan. You have to say that. I get it. I get it.
No, I feel it in my soul.
All right, well, what do you think your score prediction is then for these two games? I said 27-26 Washington over Philly for the first one. Second one, I'm going 31-21 Buffalo.
10 points at Arrowhead? No shot, dude. Refs won't allow that. Vegas won't allow that, dude. Come on, dude. 10
That's,
points
hold
on the
on, that's right.
road?
That's it.
Come on, man. What's the spread right now? I didn't even look. 3.5? Oh, dude,
-2.
they know both of them
-2.
will blow them out, dude. They know it.
That's crazy. They don't actually like the odds. They
No,
don't actually
-2 on
favor
home.
Kansas City here.
What, 1.5 is like, it's like free. It's out of respect. That's not a real belief spread. They can't give them -3. They know, dude. They know. They know. They know it's over.
-3 is basically a push.
Oh man. I don't like picking points.
I don't know, man. Like 23, like
It's gonna be
like
cold as shit,
23-20 Philly,
It's gonna be cold.
probably.
I think
Yeah,
it
in
could
both
be kind
both
of low
games.
scoring, I think. 27-23 Bills.
Yeah, I don't think it's
30 plus
yeah.
seems like
All right.
too good to be true. You can't.
Garbage
You
touchdown at the
can't.
end.
The Chiefs will have the ball at the end.
No,
Dude. Come on, dude. Like, what are you talking about? Come on, dude. Come on, man.
Where's your
Have you
script
not,
at, dude?
we sent you copies and you haven't read the script already. Do your homework. If no joke, if there's like if it's a close game, I'm gonna be keeping track with the penalties. I'm not gonna be on my phone. I'll be watching disciplined. I'll be on my phone, but I'll still be watching disciplined. If there is a string, not even just penalties, if there's a string of egregious penalties, I will keep track of how that drive ends and if it affects the points at the end of the game. And if at the very end of the game, the Chiefs have some nonsense call that leads them to victory, that puts them in the field goal range, I might actually not watch the Super Bowl. I will take a stand, a moral stand, because I will lose my shit. If they win off that, and it's clear and obvious, I will have a cow. I'll put a. I'll done. I will refuse to participate. They should be.
NFL is shaking in their boots right now because John might not watch the Super Bowl.
If it's clear and obvious, and you can track it, you can watch it, and you go, this game is close, and it's some phantom nonsense that puts them in the field goal range, and they win the game off some nonsense field goal, and get carried into the Super Bowl. I might not watch it. I might not watch it. I don't know what I'll be doing at 3:00 on Sunday afternoon, but I don't think I'll watch it.
Yard work.
I'll take a stand. That's what I said. Not if they win. If that's how the game ends.
What if it's Chiefs Commanders though?
It's a fair point.
You'll watch that.
Yeah. I
Even
might
if it's
have
bullshit,
to, man. I might have to watch it. If it's Chiefs Commanders, I might have to.
Yeah, we'll see. We will see. First game noon, Washington, Philly. So we'll definitely know. I'm ready though. I'm nothing playing on Sunday. So
go Bills, go Commies. Redskins.
Go Redskins? No, not Redskins anymore.
I hope
go
Redskins
Commanders.
Yeah. See, Cam Newton still calls them the Redskins when he talks about them.
Should be. Never should have changed.
Oh no.
Sad.
Zach is gone. Oh, there he is.
Is that it? Any final T's and P's?
Go Bills. And go Buckeyes, baby.
Get out of here.
The Ohio State Buckeyes, baby.
Right.
College football champions.
Love you all.